My number 10 is cornerback Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. He's the son of former three-time Pro Bowl corner Patrick Surtain Sr. He's got football in his genes, and he proved it as a unanimous All-American, winning the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. In 9 games last year, Surtain allowed 25 yards receiving or fewer, and in his career, he had 4 picks and 4 forced fumbles. He can do it all in terms of man and zone. Has played on the left and right side, and is great in press coverage. Rarely gets beat. I had him in another corner that I don't want to mention until someone else gets to neck and neck. But the lack of injury history for Patrick Surtain put him above the next guy on my list at number 11.
My number 9 is cornerback Patrick Surtain from Alabama. The Eagles, it's no surprise that the Eagles need cornerback help. Darius Slay, I guess you could call it a bounce back year last year. He really struggled against some of the top receivers, but it was a marked improvement on anything the Eagles have had in the last several years. But they got to have somebody on the other side. And assuming Jonathan Gannon puts in that cover 2 sort of scheme over the single high that Jim Schwartz preferred, it makes corner less valuable, but still there's nobody on the roster the Eagles have. Surtain, he's the safer pick, I would say, of the top 2 cornerbacks. He comes in lower than the other guy who's going to be a little bit later in my list. He's the safer pick. He's played the position longer. Played 41 games at Alabama, and in those 41 games, he only allowed 70 yards one time. So, I mean, he's done it. He's done it against good competition. He's got a lower ceiling than the other cornerback we'll talk about later, but he also has a lot higher floor. And so Patrick Surtain is another guy I'd love to see in a trade-back scenario.
So going back-to-back of corners, Patrick Surtain is my number 6 pick right here. I mean, he's a 5-star recruit out of high school, and funny enough, second-round talent, Tyson Campbell, was opposite of him when they were in high school. From Georgia. It's kind of interesting because like people do all these like statistics on like how like 5-star recruits end up. I mean, Surtain got thrown into the fire at Alabama right away. He started as a freshman. He's a willing tackler, and the crazy thing is he had a reputation like pretty fast. I mean, people kind of avoided throwing to him even in college, and it's not that. And you're going against Alabama, you're going to have talent all across the field, but like people didn't like throwing towards them, and when they did, more often than not, he was there because he didn't have like gaudy interception numbers, but he was always there. He was always in position to make the play. I mean, like we're talking about, there's nothing that he does that really like pops off and like Farley or Horn, but it's because people kind of avoided him, and he's kind of had that notoriety his entire career. He has probably one of the highest floors out of any of the players, not just cornerbacks. And Surtain would be a no-brainer. His dad and his family's going to have his back, and he knows the way of the NFL, and he'd be a solid pick. And the reason why we're talking about all these cornerbacks is obviously, like the sexy pick is like the wide receiver. Believe me, I have Chase's number 1 on my board. Spoiler alert. But if you look at the Pro Bowlers this year, all the cornerbacks were all like first, second round picks, and all like the wide receivers were later. And it really comes down to the situation. I do believe that our coaching staff here is going to be better equipped to handle some of the young wide receivers and get them into gear with Jalen and the rookies, especially with COVID protocol hopefully winding down by the time the OTAs are going on. But Surtain would be awesome, especially to learn behind Slay. It would be a no-brainer pick.
Patrick Surtain is my number 5. Even a slight trade back in the 8 to 12 range, and Patrick Surtain would be perfect for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's by far one of the best in this draft. But let's look at the facts, guys. You look at defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, a former defensive backs coach. Surtain was a 3-year starter at Alabama. We're talking about a seasoned prospect that has seen everything come his way in one of the best football conferences, period. What you love about Patrick Surtain is that he has the potential to excel in both the man and zone coverage. He doesn't have the best short area quickness, which Caleb Farley has. He doesn't have that super fast feet, but he has arguably he's that blue chip guy. I think someone said it where he might not have the highest ceiling, but he has the highest floor. And when you're talking about Howie Roseman, who needs a win more than anybody else in this entire draft at number 6, Patrick Surtain is a sure thing. And That I think that's a no-brainer. That's my number 5 prospect for the Philadelphia Eagles.